and would agree with a lot of what chat said in terms of like, based off of what we've seen, this is kind of a free win. I don't know. Free win might be going a little bit too far catch up, but it's going to be tough for base.
I don't know if I think it's a free win. I think the nature of how Ranger works will probably make him an effective pick on every new map, purely because I think the way he has been designed, I just can't see him not working on any map at all. But you know, I just go back to the Deep Embrace and how we all used to talk about Keel being this almost mandatory pick when the map was new. And then after a few months, he really started to fall out of favor because people started to learn the map a bit more. Obviously, Heavy's got adjusted a little bit too, which matters, but I guess the point remains. As now, we jump into our first map. 30 seconds have already gone down, as will be the next rotation of items. And so far, bit of a slow start, but that's to be expected with these two.
Yep, it is to be expected, and we see this very often, especially from base. But Rapha also a type of player that likes to feel out the match, the map, the player, etc., and then start to adjust accordingly. Base, taking a lot of tri-bolt damage up there, and now Rapha set himself up for a possible rail shot down below. Goes to the mid-level using the LG, just controlling that away, and he does pick it up and lands the LG and rail combo. Will rocket jump up to the top, beautiful grab of that Mega, and doesn't get the frag, but unfortunately puts base in a place where he does not want to be. Low stack, and first frag yet to be seen. I'm sure it's right around the corner.
And that defensive play from base is going to shine through here. I think Rapha definitely would have deemed that encounter worth it, purely because ultimately I have the item and he doesn't. It was enough to get base to sort of back up and disengage. However, an aggressive push with this LG. Oh my lord, base still has a bit of armor, and I want to say I kind of would have thought base might have got a little bit more damage in that encounter, especially a rail like that not hitting its mark. Make that two. Base should have done so much more damage to Rapha than he has done. However, can he survive this now? Rapha probably going to be able to tank one more, I reckon.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought he was going to be able to get him with that shotty around the corner, but base with a good run now is going to rocket jump back up to that Mega, grabs it. There's the rail from down below, but not before base does a ton of damage. The turret does get disposed of, but Rapha's on the board 1-0. Not the cleanest frag catch up, but it doesn't matter because he is on the board and back up to where he needs to be. We're 2 minutes 35 seconds in. Doesn't look like Rapha's going to get any sort of easy conversion off of that frag. Rail from the top bounces over. Second rail, although the heavy was picked up, and both players desperately low.
I feel like the fact that with how things have been and how aggressive Rapha has been playing, you'd think this is not going to be just a 1-0 so far. It definitely goes to show the slippery nature that base has on defense, but these defensive rails!
Wow.
Very good, and I'd say good enough for Rapha because base critically low. I do like that defensive rocket. Base narrowly survives that rail. And there's just no time to put himself on Mega and survive. Rapha going to make the right call, knowing he's there and prepared. Ready. And that's the brain of Rapha right there. He knows that base isn't going to be near Mega yet. Why would he be? He's way too weak.
Yeah, and Rapha had to be asking himself, like, dude, that was 4 rails. How did I not kill base? And he was so close at least twice. But base with some good movement and also picked up that health just in the nick of time. So Rapha, though, picked up another one despite the fact the base grabbed one, and it is 3-1 right now. Almost 4 minutes on the clock. Rapha's going to pick up that heavy again, kind of reset things a bit. And I do think that we've sped up quite a bit here, but both players being able to match the pace. There's a great rail into light armor room from base. And that is going to make it 3-2. It's only a 1 frag game.
It's kind of like what I was saying before 2 minutes of mayhem that we just saw, is that base's style in general, it's just being incredibly hard to hit and hard to pin down, which in turn just means way hard to finish off. You have to overextend so much more than you would against your average everyday player because quite literally just refuses to die, it seems. And oh, Rapha! An awkward encounter, but you know what? For Rapha, that's as good as it's going to get. He was so weak, it was a trade or bust. Now, in this case, oh, the rockets on spawn, lovely.
No, you're right. I thought that was going to turn out real bad for Rapha there, but that exchange, the trade was big. And Base is going to be able to bring it back and tie it up, but again, off the spawn is so low. The turret, oh my God, the turret taking all that damage. Somehow Base stays alive, and Rapha has got to be asking himself, what is going on? What a beautiful dance by Base, using that turret as a meat shield and getting the frag with almost no help.
It's not every day you see that weak. I love it. I'm here for it. And got to give Bases props. You know, he was as weak as he was. It was a fair shout to assume that Rapha was going to kind of go in for a refrag. So he already made sure the turret was blocking the entryway. He had a rocket angle prepared. That was Base being more than ready for that fight. And obviously, it paid off in droves. Now Rapha in trouble now, because just like that, Base 2 frags in the lead. Heavy is going to be the next objective, but Rapha, even though he's spawning with a large stack, he just doesn't have a lot of the weapons, right? I mean, you can pick up a weapon and go ham, but Base just has the variety on lock and doesn't get the rail. That sucks.
Yeah, he's played so much of this matchup incredibly low, and it might not work out for him here. He somehow manages to dodge that rail. Only 16 points of health, and he has been in this red state for quite a while. Base still hitting his shots, though, when the opportunity presents itself. 4-6, he's got a 2-frag lead, and he's in a great spot right now. Now, he eats a pineapple right down the throat as he goes through the teleporter as well, and then the shotgun to clean it up, and Rafa's going to start to bring this back 5-6 now with about 3.5 minutes left to go.
And even more ideal for Rapha is that he frags Base with a rocket launcher in hand, so even though he'd run out of rockets, he didn't have to go out of his way to pick up more, which meant he was in position to take that Mega comfortably. Now, just like that, the LG 1v1, normally it's the heavy champion that takes the bulk of the damage, but in this case, Rapha just decides, you know what? Nah, I'd like to do more damage instead, please. And 3 minutes left on this clock week, 6 frags apiece. I think that Rapha's doing a great job of stabilizing this. It looked a little bit shaky for a short while. Base just keeping him on the end of a string. It looked like the rail for rail. He's able to get the Mega before he's railable into death. Oh no, the acid. Man melted his poor feet. The boots did nothing.
That was such a great shot from Rapha there, and way to bring that frag back. It looked like Base was going to actually be able to scoot and escape away, but Rapha retaking the lead here. 2.5 minutes left to go. Through the teleporter goes, expecting to maybe have a chance at that heavy, but Base is ready for it. Rapha now trying to stop him from grabbing the Mega. Is he going to be able to? The answer is no, but a lot of damage dished out. Base looking still okay after grabbing that Mega. So going back and forth, got plenty of time here between our next major items. And they will battle it out. High and low catch up. And I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of both players here. Base certainly keeping Rapha on his toes, and Rapha playing like he normally does here. And we have a big battle there at the midsection, but Rapha takes the better of that one with an LG on the lower level, 8-6. Now 2-frag lead suddenly for Rapha.
A couple of heavies ago, that play was Rapha all over, by the way. The fact that he's pushing in towards heavy, but he just goes out of his way to take 2 of the light armors as he goes through. I mean, it's just denying as much as he possibly can. You know, it's not just getting the heavy. It's, let's say the fight goes my way and I take the heavy, you're forced to retreat. You'll realize there ain't nothing to save yourself. Now, Base goes up to try and take this heavy. That is going to be a free frag for Rapha for sure. And that's a bad time to concede, as Rapha is chunky, healthy, has all the weapons in the world, and a Mega at his disposal. With 3 frags, too. I mean, I think it's all coming up Millhouse.
I agree. There's only about a minute remaining. Base almost had the frag, but instead Rapha turns the tables, and a rail will make it 10-6. That puts Rapha in a pretty comfortable winning position here on this map, especially after rearming and getting geared up there. Back up.
Oh my God.
Big rocket into another rocket from Base too, but it's not going to matter. Rapha gets the frag, and that will probably solidify his win here on map number 1.
The instant gear shift. The second we had 60 seconds on the clock, Rapha's objective clearly changed. No need to show myself. Allow you to take the heavy if you want. I'll just grab this light. See you later, mate. As long as I have these defensive angles, it's going to make your likelihood of a comeback even more impossible than it once was. And just like that, 13-6 at a bare minimum. Could be a little bit different in these last 10 seconds, but at the end of the day, rapha will not care as this map goes into the favor of him. Nice and back and forth for the majority of it, but... What? Okay. GG. GG right there.
Yeah, 14-6 was the final score. I'll write that down. 14-6. You know, look, it's hard to sit here as a caster. There was some difficulty for rapha in what I would call like cleaning up his frags there. Really early on, remember, rapha hit those 4 rails, and I know that mentally rapha's got to be like, wait a second, how did that rail not kill him, right? Everyone of these Quake players is doing some sort of damage mathematics in their head that says, you know, listen, I've done about this much damage. This should be the right weapon in order to clean him up. It seemed like that plagued rapha a little bit throughout, throughout the matchup. And obviously he still won, but it's just something I saw a little bit, right? His choice of kind of cleaning up. I mean, these are high impact matches. They're high energy. A lot's going on. So obviously, but he figured it out near the end there, catch up, and really pulled it out at the end. But it was a very interesting match to see.
Ultimately, it's one of the most terrifying things to even watch, is that when rapha locks in the full control, it is like a completely different style of game. Because when rapha takes control, I feel like I can count on one hand how many times in tournament since 2017 a player has been in a situation where rapha has locked in that control, where he's cycling not only the major items but all of the small ones too. And we saw that from rapha, where he's picking up all the lights around, and he's keel, right? He's always able to take them. I can count on one hand how many times a player has been dealing with that and able to break out and win the map. Like, you just do not see that. You don't see that. So, I don't know. It's a scary situation to be in, but one of the things that might shift the power in that a little bit is a brand new map that people have varied levels of experience in, and some people might have a trick up their sleeve. The thing that you are clearly a bit concerned about, though, Marcus, is rapha got Ranger.
Yeah.
rapha got Ranger.
Yeah, I mean, I need to see the example, Ketchup. I need to see someone, basically, this is how you play it versus Ranger. This is how, even if Ranger's up by 3, you manage to sneak a rail and then regain control. I haven't seen it yet, right? I'm not saying it hasn't been done, but that's one of the reasons why I'm excited to continuously watch these matches on Insomnia to see how this meta plays out. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely sitting here and I'm publishing the first newsletter, and it's like, attention world, like Ranger is definitely OP on Insomnia, like that. I'm there. I'm that journalist. I'm doing that right now.
You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first. DJ Wheat self-proclaimed Ranger is the only champion worth picking on this map. Now, actually, as we begin, how does rapha start things off? Now, an early push. Oi! Chucking the plasma. And that's going to be base going down. This is literally the only weapon that rapha's got. How is he doing so much damage with it, Wheat? Oh, my God. Oh.
I would have never guessed that this match would start off with just the Hyper Blaster and an orb, right? But there you have it. And I mean, I think that's one of the things to talk about as far as Ranger's advantages here on that orb, even right off the spawn, gives you such positional advantage and the possibility to take both of the major items, a huge rail up that jump pad. And rapha does look like someone who has put in a fair amount of time there in this map, and he's nailing everything. We're 1 minute in, it's 4-0. I don't know what's gonna happen here, Ketchup.
No, I actually have to say, we're here having a good time, we're having a laugh. On a serious note, that nail gun appears to be quite powerful on this map. I mean, let's look at how small the corridors are. Everything's kind of thin. Kind of feels like it might in fact be a little bit hard to dodge it on a map like this. This is already more use of the nail gun than I've ever seen on possibly any map so far. And we're only a minute and a half in.
You know, if there's one thing I would definitely give Rapha credit for, it is, you know, he creates his own weapon meta, right? I don't think Tri-Bolt was used all that much until Rapha really started using Tri-Bolt a lot more, and then we saw more and more players use it. So that's not surprising to me. Rapha with another frag, once again, using that orb. As long as you're managing your aggression around that orb, or potentially using it as an escape, although we haven't seen, you know, seen him need to do that yet. It's 2 minutes in, 6-0, and once again, Ranger's like, Insomnia, that's my map, and I will stay awake all night long.
The problem is, it's happening again. It's happening again, Marcus. Ranger going all in. Rapha, let's give him his credit, playing exceptionally well, but it's just the oppressiveness of that orb that just looks so hard to contest. And we've talked about other potential champions that can work well on this map, but right now, Rapha, it almost feels like he has enforced a level of, dare I say, timidness from Base, where Base is almost looking a little bit nervous to show his face here. You know, the second he's seen, he's getting railed. If he overstands his welcome, here comes a rocket round the corner, here comes an orb, and I just don't know how you can get a solid footing, because even then, you're dealing with the amount of spam damage, potentially. There we go. A little bit of machine gun action into the Mega. Now, Rapha will be timing that Mega. We did see it get picked up.
Yep, and I think the important thing that we saw there from Base were the rails, right? He is definitely trying to stay away from Rapha, but eventually Rapha's going to have that orb. He's going to be able to close the gap quite a bit, and he also got the rail. Now, orb thrown out, it didn't really do anything with it, but another trading of rails, and this time it's in Rapha's favor. Base incredibly low and needs to be careful here. Again, putting himself in those positions where he feels like he can land those rails versus Rapha. I do think that is the right thing to do. But still 5 frags to make up. Base was incredibly low. Heard the inject come out, and there we have rockets coming from down below. Once again, Base just, you know, having to be on the back foot, running away, and then Rapha barreling in. He's got that shotgun in hand. Base already knew the moment he saw him, like, this is going to be Rapha's frag. 18 points of health, easily erased by Rapha, and is now 7-1.
Oh, dearie me. That was either going to be a +1 or a -1. There was no changing that fate, but Rapha at the moment, I mean, he can do the damage numbers in his head quite easily, I think. There really isn't much armor around this side of the map. A lot of the armor kind of belongs on the right. You know, you've got the point near rocket, you've got the armor near the jump pad, perhaps. Base gets a very, very important rail to kind of give him maybe even a fighting chance. But if someone is sitting near that side of the map and they don't hold the heavy, and they're weak, and they're a light champion, surely you're just going to chase it, because what do you have to worry about? What is there to pick up, really? Oosh! One more. I said one more. I said one more!
Wow. Wow. And you heard, obviously, Kilson earlier talking about, yeah, I've been shooting 90% rail on this map, no problem. And after seeing all these players and some of these rails, you know, I'm actually not surprised, even though I'm incredibly surprised. Like, that is bonkers. But 9-2, halfway through, and we said that it was pretty likely. Oh, nice job. The Base actually gets the better of that one after the orb comes in. The Rockets can't clean him up. And all right, Base bringing it back now to 5 frags. This is what I think you need to do versus Ranger, but as we were talking about, Ketchup, like, what are we going to actually see it? And at least we're seeing Base hitting those rails, making moves here. Rapha with 2 unbelievable defensive rails there, and Base is going to have to back off just a little bit. Is he going to go for this one? Ketchup, he's trying to find the shot.
Rapha going to be fighting this one back because he does not want to let it get, uncontested, ready for the jump pad.
Oh.
And he's bang on the money. This is a scary play, it seems. I've only seen a little bit of competitive play on this map, but already have I started to notice fragging near the Mega. You know, it kind of almost just creates that spawn trap with a rail right near where Rapha is standing right now. You spawn where this armor is, and you're in real big trouble. Base is surely going to chase that, and yes, he will. Lovely management of his opponent's cooldown. And hang on a minute. This is looking kind of competitive. Rapha may be 5 frags in the lead, but we're already seeing the snowball effect. This is a aggressive map.
It is. And I agree. I mean, Base made a really, really good play right there. That's very, very nice. He's going to now fight on the top. Drop back down, try to get that LG kill, but a close range rail. You know, I want to see an alternate dimension map where the railgun's like just an LG or something. I don't know, right? Like, what would this map be like without Drake? Actually, could be really, really tough to try to get back control of that middle. But Base is doing what I think he needs to do. Rapha's just doing it a little bit better. And you cannot deny the fact that he does have that orb. And that makes a huge difference in this one. But Base brought it back. 5 frags. I'm not counting them out yet. There's still just under 3 minutes left to go. And I'm glad that Base is able to, you know, kind of keep pace here.
Now we are going to exchange rails. And speaking of which, both players failing to hit the mark, but that's an aggressive push from Rapha. The moment he got that mega first, it was a done deal. Rapha sitting on double the frags. Ooh, good lordy me. Finally gets access to a rail, and oh, not again.
Oh,
That's
no.
now 2 self frags by accident. Like I said, -1 or +1, it really doesn't matter. The result stays the same.
I mean, still managing to pick one up after that suicide and doing some good work here with the rockets, too. Base doesn't have a rail quite yet. He goes in to go for one around the corner. He's met up by a rocket, and Rapha, he capitalizes to make it 13-7. You know, Base has been doing a great job at least keeping it close. He's going to grab that rail, but at the cost of yet another frag. And that, to me, Ketchup, is like one of the real hard things. Fighting from behind, if you control that middle area, it gives you that opportunity to deny the rail, which I think you desperately need in order to be able to bring it back in your favor in the first place. So, tough matchup here for sure. Rapha and Base both incredibly low. But on top of his head, Rapha gets the frag with the rocket. 16-7 now.
Feels like as the season progresses, this map with the Ranger combination might be a little bit of a puzzle box for now. I'm kind of looking forward to, in a few months' time, kind of recapping over the days that Ranger was incredibly dominant, but then this champion or that champion, or maybe this playstyle was able to put a dent into it, and then the meta of the map evolved. You know, I'd love to see that happen. It is, by all means, early days of Insomnia. This map has barely been in the game, and now here we are, really watching the meta develop in front of our eyes, and that's my favorite time for a new map. As now Rapha is not only going to take this map win, but at the same time, we'll take the series 2-0. We will play out that third and final map all the same. It's going to be Deep Embrace. But Rapha just continuing to impress. And I know we talked to Kilson about this map. I want to talk to Rapha about it too. Because, I mean, look, it's not every day you get new competitive content. Let's talk about it.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely agree. And to your point about the meta of this map, I mean, Deep Embrace is a great example of that. We've talked about it many times here on the broadcast, but that wasn't picked right away. And then when it was picked, we saw that meta really develop and change and form over and evolve over time. I mean, we did not see Athena early on Deep Embrace, and now we're seeing Athena more. So, you know, I expect the players to kind of work and continue to break this map down, figure it out. But gosh, like, still this day, Ranger MVP on Insomnia, it's pretty nasty. And 19-7 the final score there, as you mentioned. Rapha taking the series, but we're going to go on to this third map. I would also say, Ketchup, I don't know if you agree, but yeah, Rapha looks, and I'm not surprised, he seems like someone who would put in a lot of time, a lot of reps on a brand new map. He mentioned doing the exact same thing on Deep Embrace. You know, do you think Rapha was putting in time here for, you know, on Deep Embrace?
It very much looks like it. It did kind of look like it to me. There's certain elements of a map that will really, I think, give away how much experience someone might have. I mean, surely it will come down to even the small things, like how comfortable are they pushing through a corridor? Are they going to just try and strong arm their way through all the time? Like, The biggest thing comes down to, I think, trapping people off spawn and stuff like that. That's when you really get to kind of see that. I think some people have gone into custom game and they'll get a frag in this location and they'll kind of just mess around a bit. Right, where are they going to spawn? How can I get advantage from this? We are seeing a few players already starting to kind of enforce that trap where you're kind of sitting around. I don't know the exact place, please bear with me there, but it's something along the lines of you're sitting near Mega and you get a frag, and then it seems likely that they spawn down near where the armor is next to rocket launcher. And I think I've seen that about 3 times today. No doubt we'll see it a hell of a lot more, but that's where I think the players that are truly prepared are starting to shine. We see people like Kilson do that all the time. I'm sure we'd see someone like Wenger doing the exact same thing, because these players research, they study, they'll sit on their own and just look for all the small little tricks they can do, and that's what these kind of new maps are all about. Now, speaking of which, we're going to go back a little bit. We're going to go into Deep Embrace. This is the final map, not only of the series, but of the night. rapha has secured a 2-0 victory at a bare minimum, but is looking to take a 3-0 base. No doubt would like to have the 1 map win at the very least, because as I've said before, and I'll say it again many times over, when we hit the late part of the season and someone's a map short of a placement, we're going to talk about it.
You're absolutely right about that. And I'm excited that the new map of the previous season is the 3rd map of this matchup. We talked about the meta shifting, changing quite a bit. These 2 players definitely going to be bringing that as well. And I love that this is going to be the final map of the day, just because it's often very, very fast-paced, high energy. rapha on the Doomslayer and base on the Athena. Athena has been a more popular pick here on this map over the past, last season, and I'm excited to see more of that. So
it's a great matchup to watch. Athena has just developed so much as a champion across the years of Pro League that we've been having. It still feels like she's arguably the highest risk versus her reward, because when she doesn't work, she just crashes and burns because she's so fragile. But at the same time, when she works wonders, it feels like no one else in the game can come close to doing what she brings to the table. So add the skill ceiling on top, where she's probably the hardest champion to use. I like that, and that's what competitive play is all about. We want to see the best players playing stuff at the highest level to show the rest of us scrubs what we should be doing. I'm here for it.
That's right. That's right. Well, will rapha bring it home in 3, or will this be a 2-1? We're about to find out as we get started in our 3rd and final map of the series and final map of the day through the eyes of rapha, who's going to be on Doom, going up against Base, who's on that Athena. How is this one going to play out? We're going to see this first little exchange here. Base using that grapple to hook away to the upper level, as rapha tries to train in with that lightning gun. Now setting up both of our major items about the same time. So we might have a fight over heavy here, but a fight at the rail. rapha down to 9 points of health. He's got to be careful. He steals away that heavy, knowing that likely death was next, and that's it was. Base is up now, first on the board with 1. 46 seconds in this matchup.
Was a rather calculated beginning to the map, rapha having to answer the question of how do I press into an opponent when I've only got a super shotgun and a nail gun. LG, yeah, sure, but it's an unusual fight to have to take, isn't it? But one thing rapha has done a lot is not being shy of using that nail gun so far. Now he is perfectly timing the heavy. Bang on there. Thank you very much, stopwatch medal, but 2-2. rapha with the armor advantage. That is going to only benefit him. But in this case, the only thing he doesn't have is a rail. And I wonder if Base... It kind of looks like Base Wheat has already had a bit of a mission to keep an eye on where rapha is for the rail. Because every time rapha's near it, look, Base is always sitting on top. He's trying to prevent something.
You are absolutely right. But rapha was ready for that too. The tri-bolt damage to start, and then an exchange, an acrobatic display of rockets up and down. But rapha was able to push Base off there. His win was not only a frag, but also that rail as well. So I like what Base is doing. I like that idea and that concept, especially with Athena. Didn't quite work out for him that time, but I doubt he'll I think he'll try it again. Like, I doubt he's going to give up on that strategy here. However, now he's got to figure out how to get back in control. 5 seconds till the heavy coming up here. That tri-bolt once again coming out. Base trying to land some rockets through the slats, and he's going to aggressively move up there. And, you know, it was a close one, catch up, but does manage to stay alive. Now back in the middle. Oh my goodness, like Base being ultra aggressive, super risky, and that time it didn't pay off for him. Rapha with another frag 4-2.
Now Rapha's going to be pretty brave in the middle of this fight because he knows that Base has very little weapons. In that case, I'm pretty sure he only did have a machine gun and a rocket, which is one of the reasons that Rapha's not going to be shy of using double jump a lot more in the fights too. Now, the second the LG exists, that's where Doomslayer's double jump becomes pretty much a non-option. But outside of that, party time, baby. 6-2 now with Rapha. This lead is simply growing by the minute. We've only just started and we've had 8 frags. I mean, that's just the nature of a deep embrace. But now what's Rapha going to do? Base, extremely tender, and it wouldn't be Rapha if he wasn't cycling around and soaking up the important items at the same time. Oh, he's so weak. How does Base survive here?
I think that's the hard thing about Athena here, right? Especially if Rapha is stealing away those lights. Not going to make it easy on Base. And if he knows that he's keeping, you know, Base at a point where he can then just find him, nail, get those last few shots in with an LG or even the machine gun or the super shotgun, as we've seen, that he's completely okay. And that's where what you mentioned about denying those light armors becomes absolutely devastating against Base. There he's going to use that grapple just as the heavy spawns, and we see her body fly, and it wasn't pretty. 8-2 now off the spawn. LG versus LG, but that's an easy win for Rapha given the stack that he had.
Now, this is the game of denial that we've been talking about, and what Rapha does better than anyone in the world. Base manages to get a rail, though. Thank you very much. But you'll notice that Rapha, he spent so much of the map just picking up as many of those lights as he can pass, because he'll have timing on those and Base won't. However, Base picks up another frag. Excellent stuff. And although there's been loads of frags in a short space of time, that does mean Base has plenty of time to make the comeback happen. However, that's on the understanding that Rapha doesn't continue to just get them. And with a miss like that, even with the grapple to save his skin, that's untraded damage. Rapha's going to be happy with that.
Real fight from mid to mega. Rapha does land another one, and again, Base finds himself without a stack. And I'm blown away that Base not only is not has a stack most of the time, but also is able to still maintain the aggression that he has been doing. I mean, granted, 10-4, Rapha's in the lead. He needs to do something to bring it back, but I'm actually quite impressed by that from Base. So 5-minute warning has sounded, and Rapha with a very comfortable 6 frag lead. He's going to pick up that mega. And, I mean, this story of Base, let's look at this. 9 lights, 2 heavies, 3 megas. But, I mean, it means he's been fighting most of this time without any armor at all. That's going to be a rail to tag him for frag number 11 for Rapha. Gets himself the heavy as well. And catch up. I'm thinking Rapha's found the groove that he wants the needle to be in, and will play the rest of his tune in this one. Getting another frag, 12-4.
Rapha picked up the last light armor that was down there. He had timing. Base clearly did not. Base hanging around, just really wanting it to spawn. Rapha knows that he's down there. He knows that he can push in because Base is too early, and it's the pain of getting caught out on a major item, but on a light item. And he's doing the major items as well. I mean, this is the Rapha effect in full swing. And I imagine it's not all that pleasant for Base to be playing against, but got to give Rapha his credit. Oh, God! The plasma markers, it stings.
It stings, and it has been so effective. And Rapha has definitely always been a player that's like, hey, if this weapon's like on a map, I should figure out the best way to use it. And it's not like we've never seen nail, plasma, etc. before. But certainly there's been a little bit of an emphasis here from Rapha on that. And clearly, Ketchup, you can see Rapha, imagine that every game for Rapha is like a cozy chair, but it kind of takes you a while to, you know, get cozy in it, and then you're like, okay, now I'm relaxed, I'm comfortable. Well, we saw that happen during definitely map 1, and I don't think Rapha's gotten uncomfortable in the entire time that he's now been playing. There's another aggressive grapple coming in from base, and at this point, Rapha's just like welcoming him with open arms. 17-4, 3 minutes left to go, and Rapha is just running a clinic.
This is the kind of remaining 3 minutes of a map where everything else that happens is going to be just highlight reel material. Base is going to be aggressive. He's going to push all the way forward now because although he's mathematically unable to win, I mean, what else is he going to do? He has to try and just keep things going. He could GG early now if he wants, to be honest, but at the end of the day, you reach a point where you have to start pushing in and you have to put your own personal well-being aside. Or you're going to get clobbered, rip and tear until it is done, etc, etc. I feel like it's almost ironic that Base is wearing a Doom t-shirt right now.
Oh, a little detail that I didn't notice, but it's
Against
funny
all the evil
yeah,
that hell
yeah.
can conquer.
19-6, as we saw, the punch is the last frag. Base will bring one back in his favor, but as Chad has pointed out, like at this point, this is over. Base is going to pick up another one. 2 frags remaining, and does pick up that heavy, but then immediately machine gun down. Rapha looking real good. Now Base, I mean, again, certainly not playing that defensive Base we've seen in the past. In fact, Ketchup here, I might say he's been overly aggressive, but that's okay when Base is doing it. Certainly that's been the strategy he's tried to do here with Athena, and it just hasn't worked out. Rapha does take a rail to go down to the 9th frag, but is sitting so comfortably at 22. Don't see it ending any other way.
We have very much seen the duality of Athena throughout the course of today's broadcast. This example was just when Athena doesn't work the way that clearly the intention was to go. In a lot of these cases, Base is using that mobility and using that aggression to try and steal away items, to essentially strong-arm his way onto these important locations, and Rapha's just more than ready for it. We're either seeing LGs before it goes down, in a lot of cases we just saw a rail beforehand, and Athena being, I think, the highest mobility Base champion in the game, I think, on a map like this, Rapha was still prepared for every outcome. We saw signs of that very similarly with Sparty early. When Sparty fought against Cygip, he was fighting Athena in pretty much the exact same way. What's happening right now is just, this is a traffic jam.
I just imagine that Athena is just trying to hug Doom right now. It's not, he doesn't want to fight. He's just trying to get in close real fast and just give, the most wholesome hug that Athena's ever given. And then it just makes me laugh a little bit. There it is, 25-11. A very, very sick performance here by Rapha. All 3 games. That was just domination. We said we were going to be excited to see Athena, but that's not exactly the excitement that I was thinking about. But nonetheless, let's bring Flea back in. Let's get his analysis on what we just saw in the last 3 games. Welcome back, Flea. Rapha takes it in 3 versus Base. Your thoughts on the series?
I don't think this is terribly unexpected, right? This is what most of the people are going in with the expectations for this series. You could also see it in the predictions in chat. Map 1, of course, we started it off back on Vale, back to what we've known for so long now already. Seemed like there was a moment where Base was almost mounting a comeback, string together quite a few frags, but Rapha, he's so patient, so controlling over time, and ultimately shut that down real quick. Secondly, we have Insomnia, Ranger again, proving himself to be the S-tier pick on this map. Anarchy, really not convinced of the worth of the champion. At this point, it kind of just feels like it's a worse Sorlac in pretty much every respect. The stack is so much lower, movement doesn't really add that much, and you don't have a damage-dealing ability that you can use to lock down the railgun and such. And then lastly, of course, Deep Embrace that we just saw started off pretty evenly, Base keeping up with Rapha for the first few minutes, but then, of course, that liquid diesel kicks into gear and there's nothing that you can do to stem the tide. So very well-deserved victory for Rapha. Base put in the effort. There were a few moments where it really seemed like, yes, he's onto something. This could bring him back into the series. But Rapha, very quick to adapt, always on top of things, and a deserved victory.
We have so much to talk about when we hopefully bring Rapha in to have a little bit of a chit chat. I mean, there's some new stuff to go over. Obviously, the map rotation is a little bit different to what it was in the last season. The return of Blood Covenant, which I missed a great deal. It's great to see it back. And even then, you know, current shape, practice. Merely days ago, Rapha was doing scrims against Cypher online. I mean, like, it's like you quite rightly pointed out a couple of days ago, Flea, when you're like, normally we have to wait until the end of a tournament to see something like that. But now, thanks to Quake Champions, we can literally just log on to the internet and then boom, here we go. We've got this world champion caliber of match for as long as they can keep going until someone's got to eat or something. But enough from me. We've got Rapha on the line. First of all, congratulations as always, mate. Welcome back.
Thanks, Ketchup.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think there's a lot for us to go over, but similarly to what I asked Kilson, I'd really like to discuss your thoughts on the new map, because it's really popular already. It's appearing almost all the time. I'm seeing it in scrims constantly. From your own head, you know, what do you think of this new map? You know, give me your thoughts.
I think, how do I say this? It doesn't matter whether I like the map or not. There's been, you know, plenty of maps back in Quake Live that I didn't like that were in the pool, but it doesn't matter whether you like it or not, it's there, and you need to become the best at it anyway. Because I think it's always a shame that, you know, you get certain players that they literally will ban the same map every single time, whereas, you know, that could be a weak map for somebody else that you're going against. So you're just doing them a favor. You're giving them a free ban, and then they get an extra, you know, ban against you. I think right now the map is not really being played that properly. We're seeing way too high scores, and it's going to be a very, very low scoring affair as the meta like starts to go on. I think people are gambling way too much at the moment to get that lead in the beginning to force that control, and that's like what happened in my game. He didn't respect the Ranger Orb at the beginning, then I get, you know, the free kill, then I get Mega, and then I'm just running the spawns from there. You have to avoid dying cleanly in the beginning. Otherwise, like, it's a really hard map to approach people. It's very difficult to go to the rail area successfully when somebody's holding it down. You know, when somebody's at mega health, it's tough to push there because you have to like jump from up top from the telly, or you have to take a jump pad all the way up there. There's lots of like very defensible positions where you can hit and run, which Kilson did very, very well against Cypher today. And I think we'll see more of people playing Kilson's style, but both players will, and it will be much more slowed down. People will stop taking as many risks off the spawn to try to get control back right away, because you, as you can see, if you do keep gambling and you fail, you will lose a lot of frags right away. But as long as you just, you know, play more solid fights and give yourself a chance, like, you can play the long game.
Awesome.
Rapha, once again, congratulations. I also just have a more general question. You already talked a little bit about Insomnia, but how do you feel personally about just the map pool the way it is right now? Because we've lost Exile and we've lost Molten Falls, but instead we've got Insomnia, the new map, but we also see Blood Covenant entering the pool again. And I think Blood Covenant is historically a map that you've been very strong on. So how do you feel about the new map pool? Is it something that suits you? I mean, you say that you have to be the best on every map regardless, but just your personal thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, I like Blood Covenant. I have before. When it was voted out in the first place, I actually voted it out. And even though I like it a lot, I felt like for at least for like a couple stages, we should have it out because we've been playing it for so long, right? It's the same thing with Blood Run. Like, we've been playing the same map. Other maps should, you know, come into the pool, but, you know, we as players decided, okay, you know, we'd rather see, I think the decision came down to Blood Covenant or Molten, and we decided to vote for that. And I'm happy to see it back, especially because a lot of people pointed out in the last stage for QuakeCon that lights weren't getting played as much. That was partly just due to the map pool. There was one less map that really suited their playstyle, but now you have, you know, quite a few. Like Deep Embrace, you see like really good play with Athena and Anarchy there sometimes. Blood Covenant, all four light champions are very good. Awoken sees a lot of good light champion action. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good diverse pool as far as like who can show their strengths with champions across the board. So yeah, and you know, we'll see about Insomnia. Like I said, I don't like it right now, but who knows? I've heard rumors of potential, you know, changes to it or whatever. So who knows if that'll go into play in a couple weeks or not. But But yeah, I'm always down, even if it's not my favorite. I'm down for new maps to get into the pool because I think, if not, most players would just play ZTN, DM6, and Airwalk
I was
all
gonna
the
say,
time.
like, I don't know what you're talking about, Rafa. That all sounds great to me, but yeah.
But yeah, the more the merrier as far as like rotating new stuff in and giving it a shot. So I mean, as you see, like Awoken was new, Ruins is new to Quake, Molten was new. Like all these maps have been very, very good. As they've rolled in, there's just been like one or two that are just so that's a pretty good success rate. It's very hard to make maps, especially in this game where you have all these different play styles to think about and to balance. And so I think so far it's been pretty good. So I'm excited to continue the season and the map pool that we have.
Congrats, Rafa. I want to continue the conversation about Insomnia just a little bit, right?
Sure.
From a caster perspective, what we've seen is pretty much, Ranger doing really well on that map. So I want to propose a hypothetical situation. The map's picked. Your opponent has Ranger. Who are you leaning towards picking, and what is your approach philosophically against Ranger on that map in its current form?
Okay, I think the way that you have to look at the map is the strongest position on the map is the rail area, because you can't just take an easy jump pad like you can to Mega that propels you to it. You have to take one that's really vulnerable by the heavy, or you have to rocket jump or like jump over there like on there's like this little walkway, but people hear you coming. And so it's just this big choke point, but it's so strong because it controls heavy, but at the same time you can damage Mega. So it's all about choosing champions that break that position on the map. So Athena, Anarchy, Sorlag, because both Anarchy and Sorlag can take the jump pads and they can instantly go into the window. They can use their air control to do that and to break it. So I think we'll see like more of those, and Nyx, and who else? Probably Strogg would be good too, because even though you can't go up there the same with like rocket jumping like Ranger or like using air control, you can use Peeker to fight from below and then make them focus on that. And if they want to peek to fight you, then they're going to take a shit ton of damage, and they have to make a really hard choice, and so you're just trying to constantly whittle them down. So I think we'll see more of those picks, but yeah, and that'll show more when it's map 1 and map 2, because all of those champions are still available. So once it gets to like it's a map 3 decider, then you might see differences where Galena will be very, very strong on that map, because you can play safe, you can put totems all over the place. So yeah, there'll be plenty of champions that can be played. It just depends on the order in which it's picked for the series.
Awesome. Thank you for that insight. That is exactly what we were hoping to get. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And on that note, thank you so much for your time. Well done. And just like that, everybody, we're done. I don't know where the time went. I'm kind of looking at the clock and it's 9 p.m. here in the UK. Feels like we only just started. But to be honest, I think it was a fantastic day. We had some absolutely fantastic matches. My standout performance of the day, personally, I don't know if you agree, I feel like it has to go to Dramis. With how everything went out, Dramis rocking up today, and on that final map of Awoken, just refusing to miss rails. I mean, what do you two think? Starting with Lee.
I'm going to share the same opinion. I have my list of notes, and I just have one big exclamation mark next to the Dramis Razy matchup, just to be like, you gotta remember this one. It was just unreal. Dramis was playing out of his mind. Biggest upset of the day. Yes, we saw Kielsen, for example, land more rails uninterrupted, even more shots, even higher accuracy, but Dramis was just on fire. I've never seen him play like that, and ultimately it paid off nicely. So that was my personal favorite of the night as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue here. I'd be stupid to. I both of what you said. The only other thing that I just chuckle because, and I know I'm going to be like going to sleep tonight, and I'm just going to laugh a little bit thinking about it. But that real close quarter fight between Base and Rapha, where Base just did a little dance and juked around the turret and had no health, but somehow still got the frag versus Rapha. It's what I live for, is great. But I thought overall, this is what is making me really, really anticipate even the weeks continuing on here in the QPL, is that we're seeing, as Flea pointed out, as you brought back up, Catch Up, is that we're getting to see some incredible matches here. Boom, right out of the gate, weeks 1, week 2, and it's only going to be better from here. So thanks so much for joining us as always, and I've had a blast yet again.
couldn't have said it better than... I mean, that's it. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's what I was going to say. That's why you're like a better host than I am, basically. We're going to wrap up the night. I'm going to grab some dinner, have a cup of tea. No matter where in the world, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to my fellow commentators, Flea, DJ Wheat, always a pleasure. The commentators that aren't here today, but you will see throughout the course of the season. id Software, Bethesda, the hard-working production team behind the scenes, and you lovely people at home that sit here every Saturday and watch Quake with us. My name has been Ketchup, joined by Flea and DJ Wheat. This was Week 2, Season 3 of Quake Pro League. Thank you so much for watching. Much love, peace out, and take care.